Hello, I'm Stuart Tucker, and this is a meditation for Thursday, June 11th, 2020. Um, on the Disney Channel, there's a series called Encore. What it does is it takes the class of high school musicals from years past and brings them all back together to do an encore performance of the musical they did as high schoolers. One of the episodes is titled Oklahoma, and it brings back the class of 1991. Imagine that, 30 years later, middle-aged people, and gets them to do the same play, and everybody plays the same parts as they did when they were 18. And one particular story is the story of Woody. Woody plays the character Will in Oklahoma, who sings Kansas City, if you're familiar with that tune. And then he sings the number, and you see the scratchy videotape of him leading the dance troupe in an incredible dance. Uh, I mean, worthy of a Broadway performance. This guy was a hoofer, and the joy that he was able to express in that showed through that scratchy, kind of like what you're looking at now, that old videotape. Uh, uh, this Broadway-like number of this hoofing tap dance Western number that he does. Only now, 30 years later, this character Will has been in a car accident, and he is a paraplegic. He's confined to a wheelchair, which means it won't be the same. How can he even think of doing it? But incredibly, he goes through this journey. He doesn't reject the idea out of hand, and he is determined to try. And with great emotional struggle, he succeeds. He gets on that stage and sings Kansas City, and then leads a group of dancers from his wheelchair. He can take his wheelchair and rock it up and then bring it down with a bang. And he can whirl around fluidly all over the stage. And he can slap his knees and his chest, and which kind of substitutes for the tap dance. And he goes back and forth between the dances, him slapping and them slapping and dancing also. But the thing that is outstanding is he had the same joy on his face that he did when he had two very good legs dancing as an 18-year-old. And I thought about our situation, our congregation's situation of looking at, worshiping in the parking lot with masks, not being able to sing, not being able to get within 6 feet of each other, not being able to hug each other. We're kind of crippled. We're kind of confined. We're like Will in his wheelchair. But the thing that united those two performances, separated 30 years apart, the important thing was not Will's legs. It was his heart and the joy that he brought to his performance, which was contagious and shone back at him from every face in the audience. I believe we can do that. And it won't be 30 years separating our last in-person worship and our next. It's not going to be next week or the week after. But it will come. And the important thing is not the physical. It's the joy that we bring in our hearts. And I keep on saying this. Rejoice in the Lord always is not a request, not for us who believe. That is my meditation for today, June 11, 2020. Goodbye, and God bless you all.